Today's video is all about fertilizing your lawn. If you look behind me, I have a very big lawn. Here on the farm, I'm one guy taking care of over 125 acres. So there's a lot of lawn here. But today I'm going to show you the tools that we use. Some are cheaper and some are a little bit pricey to make the job very easy. And I'm not going to use the L word and say like the lazy way out, but maybe like the effortly challenged. You know, if you don't want to make this an all day or all week affair, how do you get rid of the weeds? How do you make your lawn beautiful? And how do you do it very simple here in the spring? So without further ado, let's get to work. We're going to show you what we're using and we're going to go ahead and have some fun today. So let's do it. Okay, so our very first tool is not going to be the Ventrac. It's going to be this SpinTech spreader. Now this spreader, I have condemned this thing to an early death for probably the past 3 seasons and it has not yet died. Now the reason I'd say it died early is because we put lime and we put fertilizer through it. Both are very corrosive and somehow this thing has survived. So, you know, big ups to SpinTech. We purchased this thing new and I think it was like $125 and that was about 5 seasons ago. So it's doing pretty well. And it's also pretty heavy. As you can see, the second tool we have is a Massimo ATV. Now this is a new ATV we're testing from Massimo. This is going to be available at Tractor Supply and we have a lot of videos, handful of videos out on it, and some are controversial. A lot of you have said we should buy a Honda or a Suzuki or a Kawasaki or something else instead of this particular machine, but this machine has 2 things that our Honda machine does not. Okay, the first thing it has that the Honda does not have is a 12-volt power supply. So I can plug that cedar spreader right into this thing. I don't need an extra battery, and that's a good thing because my marine battery is actually dead. Now the second thing that this thing has is it has a 2-inch receiver. You need a 2-inch receiver for this spreader. Now this looks like a unique kind of nut or something like that. You have to loosen up, but it does have a pin system. So I'm kind of curious what that thing is on there, but let's loosen this thing up, take this out, and then we can actually mount this spreader, which we could not mount on our Honda or our Kawasaki because neither one of them have a 2-inch receiver. Okay, I've shared this DeWalt kit many times. I could care less where you buy it. Home Depot, Lowe's, Tractor Supply, Amazon, does not matter to me. But I have really enjoyed this kit. I use it all the time. It seems to always just have everything for everything you need. Unless it's like big automotive stuff, it is the berries. I think it's like 140 bucks. I mean, very, very reasonable. Okay, from manufacturing, I could tell there's a little bit of a lip here and on this side as well as the other one. So I'm just trying to file this thing down to get that little burr away, because that little burr is what's keeping that cedar from getting in here. And once I'm done doing that, I'll spray this with a little bit of just, you know, Rust-Oleum to keep that from rusting. All right, we'll get that about 5 minutes to dry. All right, while we're waiting for that paint to dry, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the fertilizer. So we're using a 2508, which is 25 nitrogen, 0 phosphorus, and 8 potassium. This is also infused with Trimec. Now Trimec is the weed killer. So this is the fertilizer. That Trimec is the weed killer. That'll kill clover, it'll kill dandelions, just about any weed that there is. Not a very, very powerful weed killer. We have a bunch of clovers here, which is, you know, that's just part of it. You got gravel in the yard. It's a farm, right? But the dandelions are starting to come up. You're starting to have a lot of different weeds, weed competition, and we do have some nice grass here. And one of the nicest things about the farm is how beautiful this homestead part is. This is about 2 acres, so each one of those bags will treat about 1/4 of an acre. And one of the most important things to do is to try and not get any of this fertilizer in the lake, not because it's bad for the fish or bad for the lake, but because too much nutrition in a lake will cause a lot of algae. Algae is a plant. If it gets a lot of nutrients in that lake, algae will bloom like crazy. What we're trying to do though today is get rid of stuff like this. We have a lot of clovers in here, and this is going to take a couple treatments probably to kill this clover, because that Trimec is not powerful enough to just go in there and nuke this stuff. But all of this stuff is very safe for this grass, and that spreader is going to make this very, very simple, I hope. So let's go check on that paint, see if it's dry. Dry enough. Great thing about spray paint. All right, I took the extension off because we're not going to need that. If you're wondering about these wood things, I shimmed this at one point because this top part will actually shake a little bit. You can't get these bolts tight enough to make it not shake. Nothing like a 2-inch receiver on an ATV. Okay, I always keep the electronics, usually with any kind of spreader that I have, just so this way it doesn't get mixed up with something else. But I keep in that paper bag, keep the fertilizer off of it. Do this just so we don't get it tangled up. Let's give it a quick test. Indicator lights on. I think we are in business. It's time to fill this thing up and let's get to work. Finally. Starting to feel kind of bad for condemning the spreader to its death about, it was probably 3 years ago. I said, this is, you know, in one of these videos I said, this is the last season we'll use it. But here it still is, still rocking and rolling. And again, not sponsored, but Spintech, you did a good job on this thing. It's durable. All right, so the knife of the day is a grab bag Tractor Supply cheapo from, it's one of those like end of the aisle things. I think it was like $7, something like that. So it's gonna be our knife of the day. You can tell it's a cheapo. It doesn't cut like the nice ones. There's all the good stuff. Looks like Christmas. Doesn't smell like Christmas. Ugh. All right, first pass, I think I'm gonna stick with one bag, just kind of get a feel for it, see how much is spreading, and that's about it. Let's get to work. Well, was that necessary to use that much equipment to do about 2 acres? The price of the fertilizer was $303. I think it used to be a lot cheaper than that, but you know, for 2 acres, I don't know, we'll do it twice a year. If prices were crazy like they were a couple years ago, we wouldn't do it at all. It's a preference thing. It just makes it look nicer here inside the homestead. And you know, the rest around us is hay fields. That kind of is what it is, but do you need a machine like this to do this? No. If you have a lawnmower with a little pin hitch, you could do, you know, you can use that. You can do the tow behinds. Out here we have a lot of hills though. Those hills will make those things tend to lay on their side. They don't like to be upright when there's hills. So a 2-inch receiver, any kind of machine with a 2-inch receiver, if you're getting a side-by-side or an ATV, anything with a 2-inch receiver, make sure it comes with it bolted to the frame. Don't do the add-on thing. Don't do like, okay, well, we can just buy the thing on Amazon. I've tried it. Those things are garbage. They don't work. If you're buying one of these things for hunting or whatever, you know, use it for as many things as possible, like fertilizing your lawn. I mean, why not? We have it, may as well use it. One other tip I'll give you, and this is a big one, is don't cut your grass before you fertilize or before you spray or before you overseed. Reason being is if you look at how high the grass is right now, it'll get cut tomorrow, but you could see the tire tracks from the ATV. If you're using a lawnmower or a riding mower or something, or even your feet sometimes, you can see what your path has been, and that taller grass will let you cheat a little bit and let you know not to over spray fertilizer seed in one area and to under treat another area. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was fun. Just coming along with us to do some chores. It's still spring, it's April, it's high 50s in April, which I'll take it. I'll take high 50s all day long. I enjoy wearing a jacket. I don't want to be in the heat just yet. I'm ready. It's coming. I'm ready for it, but I don't want the blistering heat just yet. But I do appreciate you guys watching. Click that subscribe button. Come back and see us in the future. We have a lot of fun stuff coming up. Catch you next time. Joe the Farmer. We out.